This video is to show what's involved when installing a Tuff Shed on a concrete pad. I first decided how big the shed should be and where it should be located. The back corner of the yard closest to the patio seemed like a good choice. In my village, either concrete piers or a concrete slab must be used. I went with a slab because it's more durable, less maintenance, and keeps wildlife from building a home under the shed. As part of the permit process, I submitted a marked up platted survey to the village showing the location of the shed and that it will be installed on concrete. I chose a concrete contractor who specializes in building slabs. On framing day, we discussed the pad should be adjacent to the back easement and 3 feet from the next door neighbor, per the village requirements. The 10-foot by 12-foot frame was sized a half-inch smaller to ensure the Tuff Shed siding had no problems overlapping the slab. As it turned out, this shrinking of the dimensions was not needed. The grass had to be removed and taken away. Material was hauled using motorized carts that were small enough to get through a standard fence gate. Leveling and squareness of the frame were adjusted or verified several times throughout the construction. The top of the slab is set at a minimum of 6 inches above the highest point in grade. This helps to avoid water getting into the shed and, in my case, ensure the door can swing fully open without hitting the ground. Once the top of the frame is level and square, it is staked in. Afterwards, the bottom of the frame is completed. Enough compactable gravel is brought in to create a base that is at least 4 inches thick. Water is periodically sprayed during the laying of the gravel to help with the compaction. After the initial compaction, the perimeter was dug out so the concrete would be able to flow down the edges all the way below grade. The last thing to do for the day is add the wire reinforcing mesh. The framing and gravel base took 2 guys 6.5 hours to complete. The village inspector verified distances from the property lines and gravel depth. On the cement pour day, the frame is first sprayed with a release agent. The math says 120 square feet at 4 inches thick is about 1.5 yards of cement, but because of the grade of the yard and trenching of the perimeter, 2.5 yards of 5,000 psi cement was used. During the pour, the wire mesh was lifted off the top of the gravel and embedded in the middle of the cement. Once poured, the cement is screeded to get it level, then floated to push down the aggregate to get a smooth finish. The cement was hand troweled and floated multiple times. After the cement started to set up, it was edged. The last thing done was to put on a brush finish. This is to avoid slipping if the concrete were to get wet. I requested the lightest possible brushing so it will be easier to sweep. Because it was a hot sunny day, a canopy was placed over the cement so it would not dry out too fast. 5 days after the pour, the frame was taken off. Instead of forming a control joint where the concrete is wet, this company prefers to cut a 1/4 inch wide channel when the concrete is cured. After seeing it, I do like it better because it is less noticeable. The entire concrete project took 2 guys, 11 hours, over 3 days. For the shed, I chose a 10-foot by 12-foot Premier-Pro Tall-Ranch Tuff-Shed with a 4-foot door, 2-foot by 3-foot window. I researched several companies, and Tuff Shed seemed to have better quality and support. 9 days after the concrete was poured, 2 subcontracted installers for Tuff Shed arrived with the shed. The shed arrives with prefabricated walls, roof truss, gable ends, and a door. The exterior, comes with a single coat of paint and the second coat is applied on site. I think this is because it allows all the scratches caused by transporting to be covered. Once unloaded, the walls went up in less than 20 minutes. The trusses are prefabricated, but the roof still needs to be built and shingled. The roof sheathing was pre-cut, which speeds up construction. In my village, it's a requirement to mount the shed to the concrete. I was told Tuff Shed would use wedge anchors, but instead they use screw anchors. I'm not sure why they made the switch. The installer had a tough time installing the locking handle. For some reason he widened the pre-drill shaft hole, positioned and mounted the handle several times, and ended up mangling the inner steel frame. The handle was still sticking when they left for the day. The Tuff Shed installers completed the build in less than 5 hours. Overall, the Tuff Shed quality is pretty good. Everything seems solid and should survive the elements. The only other issue, outside of the door handle problem, is there is about 30 nail misses, most of which were in the prefabricated panels. 2 weeks after the install was complete, Tuff Shed announced the availability of a touchpad lock. I ordered one and installed it myself. It looks solid and will save me a lot of steps by not having to walk inside the house to get the shed key. Hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for watching.